training mission, we will be covering the basics of using the F-15E Strike Eagle's radar capabilities in the air-to-ground mode. As usual, sit back and relax while everything loads properly. The air-to-ground radar is a very powerful tool which you can use for building situational awareness, getting accurate representation of the target area at long distances, marking points of interest, designating targets, updating your INS, and more. Don't expect to learn all of it during this mission. Today we're only covering the basics. The first thing to do is to bring up the air-to-ground radar on one of the MPDs. Please note that it's not possible to use it on the MPCD. Enter the air-to-ground radar page on the left MPD and let me know when you're ready to proceed. Now take command of your radar, long pressing the castle switch to the left. Okay, the radar is now working, painting the picture of the terrain ahead of you. You can also see the range rings, though this time they're curved, so this is different than their air-to-air radar. First thing I want you to do is to increase the range using push button 14. You should see sequence points from your current flight plan superimposed over the radar screen. You can turn them off using the declutter option available via push button 2. Go ahead and do that now. Good. Now bring them back in again. Instantly move the cursor between the sequence points using push button 17 or by pulling coulis switch up short. Please use the coulis switch to cycle through all the available sequence points, which means only those that are within the radar field of view. You will notice that doing so slews the cursor to the currently selected sequence point and then, after the last available point, switches it back over to the center of the screen. You can also freely move the cursor around the display using the TDC. As you do this, you'll notice several things happening on the screen. Numbers in the top left corner are azimuth and range to the cursor position. This is different than the air-to-air radar mode, where an actual compass bearing for the nose is shown. The ALT legend below gives you the minimum and maximum altitude covered by the beam with the given antenna position. Elevation can be changed using the wheel and the throttle, and it has a huge impact on what you will see on the screen. ALT is typically only used or needed for detecting weather. As an example, place the cursor over waypoint 3 and raise the antenna. The caret on the elevation scale will start moving up, and as the minimum and maximum coverage altitude increase, you'll start seeing less and less of a map until nothing more is displayed, because the beam is now looking above even the highest terrain features. Now move the antenna all the way down. You'll first see the full radar map, but will soon start shrinking closer and closer to your aircraft as the antenna paints the area nearer to you until it's looking almost directly down. Remember that you can easily check what is the min and max coverage in any part of the screen by moving the cursor there and checking the ALT reading. Okay, time to move to a different ground radar mode. You currently are in RBM, or Real Beam Map mode, as indicated by the legend above push button 6. The RBM provides low resolution ground mapping and weather detection capability. Press the push button to move to the next mode. GMT is the ground moving target mode, which displays moving targets on the radar screen as crosses. Note that it can also be interleaved with the RBM, which we will cover in a different lesson. Press the push button 6. HRM is a high-resolution map, and this is where the air-to-ground radar really shines. This mode allows you to build pretty accurate pictures of a small area at large distances and fully deserves a separate lesson. So for the time being, let's move on. Press push button 6. PVU stands for Precision Velocity Update Mode, and it's a very useful function to quickly and accurately update the INS or the Mission Navigator velocities, which in turn is important for building good quality, high-resolution maps. Obviously we couldn't use it now since the sim's paused and we're not moving, but the process itself is pretty straightforward. Okay, press the push button 6 once more to return to RVM mode, and we'll move on to cover another important topic, which are the different cursor functions. These can be changed using push button 7, and the default one here is map. It is part of the HRM functionality and will be covered elsewhere. Suffice to say, this option allows you to build an HRM patch map of a certain area covering between 80 and less than 1 nautical mile. The size of the patch is chosen using push button 8. Press push button 7 now and we'll move on. Position update cursor function is used when the aircrew needs to perform a position update to either the MN Mission Navigator or the INS from the real beam map. Press push button 7 again. Using the target cursor function, the aircrew can designate any point on the real beam map or high resolution map for weapons delivery. To do so, simply press the TDC at the location of your choosing. You'll see a triangle with a line extending from it and a designate legend below. We'll cover target designation in detail in another lesson. Press push button 7 once more. The Q cursor function directs or commands a sensor, such as a lantern, to a selected point on the radar display. Press the push button 7 one last time. Finally, the mark cursor function will let the aircrew place mark points on the radar map for future reference. You can have a maximum of 10 mark points, and each new one above 10 will overwrite the first one. Go ahead and place a few by pressing the TDC. A small triangle with a number will appear. You can display a maximum of 5 mark points at a time. Let me know when you're ready to move on. Okay, push button 9 allows the aircrew to choose the desired antenna azimuth scan. In full mode, the radar covers 100 degrees in front of the jet, but this can be changed to half, 50 degrees, or quarter, 25 degrees. Press push button 9 once. You are now in the 50-degree scan, and you should see that the area covered by the radar has changed. You can position the scan on the cursor by moving the cursor to another part of the screen. As soon as it stops moving, the area around it will be scanned by the radar. Alright, I'll unpause the mission and let you digest all the new things we just covered. And don't worry, because most of the time you're visible doing all that work while you focus on keeping the jet steady for you. Which reminds me that we should cover the autopilot modes pretty soon.